Blog Talk Radio.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Wednesday version this week. Next week, back to regular scheduled time on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, wherever you listen to podcasts. And studio line number will get you 347-205-9631. If you missed that, catch the archive on blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports Podcast across the country. And you're listening right now to the American Sports History Podcast, based out of Cleveland, Ohio, hosted by my brother, my mentor, my friend, Peter Ray. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing it in hot Los Angeles, where it'll be 5 straight days of over 100 and something degrees. Not a lot of water out here, but that's not anybody's concern everywhere else, wherever the weather may be. But as I lay the red carpet down, put the podium in its place, and hand off the mic, first of all, Peter, how are you? Second of all, how can people get a hold of you? And third of all, you got this legend back in every 2 weeks, and another brother, mentor, and friend to us. I'll let you do the introductions while I man the board, my brother.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube channel. It's my name, Peter, J.REA. I'd appreciate people if they'd consider subscribing. And you're absolutely right. Tonight's guest for the 4th time. He played Major League Baseball from 1971 to 1981 with the Chicago Cubs, Oakland A's, and Los Angeles Dodgers, and San Francisco Giants. Won 2 World Series in 1973, 1974. Stole 395 bases in his career. 2-time American League stolen base leader in 1974 and 76. Had more than 1,000 hits. First designated hitter for the Oakland A's. Won a title for the Dodgers in 1978. Led the American League 3 times in total chances per game, twice in putouts, first in assists from the outfield on a double play. And he played for the coolest team of all time, the Oakland A's from the early 1970s, the most entertaining, interesting, and most amazing team. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bill North.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Oh, fine. It's amazing having you on. It's just incredible. I just can't get over it. Now, the thing I want to talk about your memories of teammates. First of all, the Oakland A's established a Hall of Fame in 2018. So far, their members from the Bill North era include Raleigh Fingers, Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson, Charlie Finley, Vida Blue, Bert Campaneris, Ray Fosse, Sal Bando, and Joe Rudy. This year's ballot has Dick Green, Gene Tennis, Ken Holtzman, and Blue Moon Odom. But so Bill North is not in the Oakland A's Hall of Fame, and he's not on the ballot. Any listener out there who has a connection with the Oakland A's Hall of Fame, I really appreciate if you could communicate that we could get Bill North on the ballot for the Oakland A's. He's in a number of halls of fame. Central Washington University twice as a team player on one of the teams, also as an individual. The State of Washington Sports Hall of Fame, Seattle Public Schools Hall of Fame, and hopefully we'd like to see him inducted in the James A. Garfield High School in Seattle. And anybody with a contact with that school, I'd like to see that happen. Now, Bill, first of all, going back to the 1973 Oakland A's, what do you remember about Jose Morales?
Wow.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, it does. And he was my teammate? I know him.
Okay.
But hold up, man. You're killing me. Gave a left for that one.
Okay, no strong memory of playing with him. How about Manny Trio?
Yeah, Manny could go. Manny was in Chicago too.
Okay.
And good player, good shortstop. Smooth, was real smooth. And he learned to hit.
What's that?
He learned to hit. Manny Trio. We came up through the minor leagues too. Good player.
Here we go. Sal from Germantown, Pennsylvania. Another great tandem every 2 weeks. You fellas bring it. Any thoughts on the Oakland A's maybe leaving Oakland?
Yeah. Yeah. You want me to handle that?
Yeah. What do you think, Bill?
Well, I'm gonna avoid getting controversial on that, but the project that they had developed and stuff like that went offline many times. I think there has been some dishonest negotiations in that. And it's the kind of thing that, those guys in the front office, they don't stay in Oakland after the game. They go out to Black Hawk and all the rich places, and the city of Oakland needs them. The area needs them. Our society needs them because if the A's leave, they will be the last team that Oakland had as a major league team, and the city will have no future after that. And because if they develop this project and get the stadium there, they'll be able to have corporations come in, and that whole area down there is developed for housing and business and all of that. But if they don't get that, it's kind of a death knell to me in one of my favorite cities in the country. I love Oakland.
Yeah, and they lost. Yeah, you're right. They lost the Raiders. That was real tough. Well, they lost the Raiders for the second time. Eric, go ahead.
They lost the Warriors. They lost the hockey team.
Oh, okay.
And they're still in that old cookie cutter stadium. Oakland Coliseum is an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for hitters, because foul grounds are so big. Cost you 10, 15 points on your batting average if you play there. But that's a personal thing.
Eric from Modesto, California. I hear Bill loves the Houston Astros. They can go 6 deep, tough to beat. Love to see Dusty Baker get a ring.
Me too. I love Modesto too. I've had some good times there. They used to have a celebration every year, and I used to be invited. And good time. But Houston, let's just keep our fingers crossed because they got a good team, man, and they got good players. But when you go into that postseason, I hope they're hot, or at least on a winning streak of 5 or 6 games, because that's what the team that comes in is who's hot and who's not in that, especially at the beginning.
Well, knowing that you're friends with Dusty Baker gives me I'll root for Houston too. Why not? Since I'm friends with you, and so that's good. It's nice to have. Dave from go ahead.
Man.
What's that?
It couldn't happen to a better person.
Dusty Baker.
The person I've known since 1969, and he was the same then as he is now.
Yeah, so I'm glad to know about the wonderful friendship between Bill North and Dusty Baker. That's beautiful. Dave from Visalia, California. The Oakland A's are tough to watch. Went to see them against the Marlins last week. Felt like 10 people were there. Have you been following the A's this year, Bill?
Yeah, and when you asked me the question about them moving, I don't think that. Boy, I'm going to get in trouble on this, but I don't think that they've done anything to enhance the possibilities of the fans and that kind of thing. And it's not like they really market the team real well.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if since it's such a big money thing now, and everybody, all these other places that have grown in population and wealth, maybe Nashville, Tennessee, or wherever, not that I really know, but Las Vegas. You wonder if some of these owners are thinking like, we'll just screw around and things, and then we'll move because people won't care or something like that. I don't know, but
what the deal is on that when you're relocating a team, there is a franchise fee that whoever or whatever town you go to has to throw a bunch of money in a pot that they divide amongst themselves.
Right.
The owners do.
Right.
And I think that Oakland, with their plan, would take, in the long run, it would be fruitful for them, but owners want their money now. And so that's why I'm a little bit pessimistic about how that's going down.
Well, yeah, if the owners get money and then the other owners as well, then they get the green light. Albert from Poway, California, another great show, guys. Any thoughts on who will play in the World Series? I got Padres and Astros.
I got a thing about predictions. Now that we decide who's going to win, all we got to do is play games.
Right.
So I don't generally make predictions, because the biggest factor of all is who gets hurt and when. Okay, and any of those teams lose a key player, or it's a big deal. Injury is a big factor, when you're playing all those games, and so I kind of reserve my predictions and more of the moment than looking to see. I'm trying to get to tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, in a short. Go ahead.
Now.
Huh?
And you're talking about 2 months from now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it goes into November now. Isn't that something?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the season, because the playoffs have gotten so long. And Denise from San Francisco, California, keep up the great work. Missed you fellas yesterday. Glad you're on tonight. Well, thanks, Denise. Appreciate it. Freddie from Marlborough, Massachusetts. Phillies and Red Sox in the World Series. Oh, well, we'll see about that. Yeah. Now, Bill, back to the 1973 season. What do you remember about Rico Carty?
Big, what do they call it?
The Big Man.
Big Man. That's another one of those guys with a great big laugh. He was a deep voiced man. Rico Carty was a big man, and he was strong, and he could hit. You should look at his numbers. Rico Carty was in that period that I got to come up in, is when those guys, those older guys, Hank Aaron, all those kind of guys, those guys right there were in their fruition, and they're starting to go to the other side. But Carty was a hell of a player everywhere he went, and he could hit, and you couldn't tell him that he couldn't hit. Yeah, he was a strong personality also.
Yeah, when we got him in Cleveland, that's why I wanted to ask you about. He did real well here. Could really had those tough knees. But Gail from Youngstown, Ohio. Every week your guests keep bringing it. Craig Elo, Bill North. Thanks a lot, Gail. Appreciate that. How about Alan Lewis?
Oh, the Panamanian Express. Yeah, he could run.
From Panama. Okay.
Panamanian Express. Yeah, that's what they call him. He was. I don't know what you want me to say about him, because when I saw him, he was with us on in a situation where he didn't get used very much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he could run.
Now into the pitching staff, Catfish Hunter.
I just talked about him with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about best teammates. Catfish Hunter was one of the greatest teammates anybody could imagine. He's a good man, and was a strong man, and he could put the most comfortable 0 for 4 on your butt that you ever want to have. You're gonna come back from the place saying, "Damn, I just missed that."
Yeah, I was watching some games, and he was pitching, and I remember him as the best pitcher in baseball in the early '70s. And then, but he didn't blow people away. You know, he wasn't throwing that hard. He was getting them out.
He could if he wanted to. Ask Joe Ferguson in the '74 World Series. Catfish Hunter threw him nothing but fastballs in Destiny. Hey, Catfish could throw. He could have had, coming off of maybe 89, 90, from 89 to 92 velocity, he could get to 94 on a couple of pitches, but he'd work you up there to the point when last one you saw was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and you thought that was max. But he could put a couple of miles an hour on that fastball and throw it by you. He never pitched at max. He wasn't a power pitcher. He was trying to get you out and get us out in an hour and 45. I was in a game one time with him when we were playing in Texas, and they were 6 or 7 games behind. If they swept the series, they'd be 4 games behind. And the first game we went in there, Catfish started. We beat those guys. The score was 3-0. We were out of there in an hour and 40 or something like that. But during that game, and you never even knew it, during that game he threw 27 straight strikes. He was like being in the ballet.
So guys are putting the ball in play against Hunter early in the count.
Well, whatever it was, they were fouling him off, but he was in the strike zone 27 straight times.
Right.
And without throwing the ball. Okay.
So he had good control.
We never even knew it. Yeah. I mean, they brought that statistic after the game. But as it went, we never knew that I was in center field dancing with him. When he wound up, I danced into the play with him. And, it was like a rhythm. If he got back and took a picture of the defensive team, they were all moving in rhythm behind him.
Yeah, it's tough. We lost him. That was so tough losing. He lost him early, Catfish Hunter. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he had ALS and that, but he lives on in my heart. He was a good person. Just really was a good person. Just a hell of a man.
How about Vida Blue?
That's my boy right there, the Blue boy. We still talk probably once or twice a week. Yeah, he threw a fastball. There were 2 of them in batting practice when pitchers were getting some work in, and so they were pitching in batting practice. And I don't know why you called it batting practice when they were pitching, because it was more pitching practice. Batting practice, throw that ball down here and let me do what I want with it. But him and Raleigh Fingers, I didn't want to hit against in practice because they hurt. Biden used to throw a fastball. They call it an exploding fastball. It get out there about 6-7 feet, and then it jump at you, and it was picking up speed at the end, and he had when we were in the minor leagues, you heard about this guy named Vida Blue, and they used to say he could throw hard and all this, but he was wild as a March hare. Well, when he was with the Oakland A's, he got his control. When he got to the big league, and he was a power pitcher that could hit spots, and that to me, he was one of the first ones that dominated with that back foot slider. Come on, man. And the way he had his wind up, his leg was so high and it was so tight that you couldn't pick up the ball till it was on its way.
Now, you weren't with the A's in '71, but he had that really incredible year. It looked like he could win 30 games, and there was so much attention on him. Did he ever talk about the '71 season with you and what he went through?
Yeah, they did an article about that one time. But, there was that was one of the sore spots in my mind about baseball, because this kid from the South was being in a situation where he was just fresh and young, and he was experiencing this thing, and Charlie Finley tried to make an artifact out of him, and tried to change his name, and and it was unfair to a young kid like that to put all that on him and that. But and I think to this day, and we've talked about it before, I think to this day it still affects him, to the point that he felt that after he got older and looked at that, he felt like he was being used, and it was not helpful. They didn't just let him quietly go about this, or have interest from the outside. They tried to work his accomplishments from the inside to make him bigger than a young man at that age should be pressured with.
Yeah, too much pressure on him. That's for sure.
Well,
how about Blue? Go ahead.
The inside, it's from the outside. It's one thing that just happens. But when you got people in the organization trying to make you artifact, I mean, like they're putting all of these expectations on you, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Your career is going to be like this, when he's just a young kid.
Right.
And what they did is they marketed him.
Right.
Yeah.
How about Blue Moon Odom?
Moon is one of them. He wasn't an hour and 45 minutes. You could bet that.
Okay.
He had good stuff, but he was one that tried to nibble and work around the plate, which a whole bunch of pitchers try to do, even to this day, because somebody hit a ball hard off of them, and they get to be the point that they don't get to be in their psyche to where they don't want them to hit a ball like that again. So they try to nibble and not give them that pitch. When that pitch, if you threw it again, that's the one they aren't looking for, because of the fact that they expect you to do what you're doing, trying to not. When you get somebody real good, they remember it and they don't like that. I had a guy like that. His name was Rudy May, and a great pitcher, good pitcher, but I just had one of them things where you just tuned into somebody, and when he shook off a pitch, I knew what he was shaking off. The pitch he was shaking off to go to, let's say, he shook off a fastball, and I could just see it where he was going to throw a slider. And that happened in a 3-2 count, more than once. And it's the kind of thing. Look, I'm a leadoff hitter. I ain't no power hitter there, but I scared him out of strike zone. So.
Yeah, it was cool. We had Blue Moon Odom in Cleveland briefly, so I was pretty happy because he was part of that.
Combined no-hit. He threw a combined no-hitter. That was either Chicago White Sox or Cleveland.
No, he threw a one-hitter with Cleveland. I don't know about that combined no-hitter. But what do you remember? Do you remember Dave Hamilton?
Yeah, Hammy. Yeah, that's what we call him, a Hammy. Yeah, okay. Left-handed pitcher. Good kid. Eyes got wide, but he won some games for us, you know. And him and Glenn Abbott and who else? Bob Locker or somebody like that. Those are the games when Rowdy Fingers come in the 7th inning, okay, and finish off their game. You know, Catfish and Baez and Holtzman completed games, but those guys, right? They got help from Raleigh. Raleigh come in the 7th inning with the bases loaded and no outs, and get you 9 outs for the rest of the game, and close the game. You know, Raleigh threw over 100 innings in relief, more than one.
Anything else about Raleigh Fingers?
Raleigh Fingers closed the game, but you talk about the thing was Raleigh would, and they had Sparky Lau, and they had Dave LaRoche, and they had some pitchers that were closers that would come in the 7th inning.
Right.
And those guys were closers.
Right.
Okay? Then the closer turned to that guy that you brought in the 9th inning. He threw 7 pitches, just one thing right there. But them real closers, oh, come on, man. Them real closers back in that day, Sparky Lau, Goose, come on, man. They come in the 7th inning.
Well, I remember Lyle coming in even earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man. Not much earlier than 7 because they need them. Because if they go those 3-inning saves, then they ain't much good for the next day.
Right.
You know, because them guys came at you in that situation, that short situation. They came at you with everything they had, okay? And they were bullies, and they threw hard, and you used to go into Chicago, and you had to face, as starters, Terry Forster and Goose Gossage, okay?
Uh-huh.
They made those guys closers, okay? And they both had successful careers, but that was back in the time where being a closer didn't mean coming in and throwing 7 pitches. You better be able to shut down what was happening when you came into the game and then close it out for another couple innings. What a wonderful, that was a hell of a job.
Well, I hate to say it, we've run out of time. Boy, the time has flown by.
Really?
Our guest has been Mr. Bill North, who played leadoff hitter and center fielder for one of the most amazing teams of all time, the Oakland A's from the early 1970s. Bill, do you have any final words tonight for our audience?
Peter, it's always a joy to be with you and for us to do this. And I thank the fans and for even taking the time to listen to me. And you, and I'm appreciative and I'm humble. And I hope this goes even further. I enjoy this. Thank you.
Oh, it's just, to me, it's just such a gift having you on. I mean, I just can't tell you how much I enjoy it, and I've enjoyed talking with you. And we'll have you on many, many more times. Next week, we don't have a guest set, but I called Sam McDowell. He's sounded good, but he's still not well enough to come on. I have a call in for Craig Elo, haven't heard back. We're going to eventually have Eric C. Gray, who's written books on baseball, and Mark Mancini has a large number of really wonderful guests. Whoever it is, it'll be really good next week. And in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from yesterday, we will have Bill North again. Dear listener, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Mr. Bill North.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, very good.